Old age should burn and rave at close of day. This is an extract of a poem by Dylan Thomas, and he wrote it about his father as he was dying. So it's a poem about loss, and specifically resisting loss. The kind of the fight, the urge inside to not give up and to keep going, to do things differently. And that's what Turner's career was defined by, a kind of refusal to be ordinary. The painting behind me is The Fighting Temeraire by J.M.W. Turner, painted in 1838. And Turner himself, at this stage of his career, is an aging artist. He's an old man. He's made his money, and he's deciding to do things in the way that he wants to do them. He no longer needs the patronage. He no longer needs to conform, and so in a sense, he is free in his work and free in his expression. And what a perfect way of mirroring this with the subject of the piece, which is about the emerging industry, the new force on nature's stage, the coal, the steam, the kind of violence of all of these forces. I mean, Turner traditionally depicts the violence in nature. He believes that nature is all-powerful and that we are nothing in comparison. Anything that we try and do is nothing in comparison. But he decides in this piece to kind of allow himself to realize what he sees with his own eyes, that actually man has new powers. Man has new powers. And with these new powers, they're going to revolutionize the world. And he sees this, and he chooses not to ignore it, like many romantics at the time. There was this resistance, this unwillingness to let all of these old ideas die, and this willingness to kind of hold on to that sentiment. While Turner, he was championing the new energy, the new force. In the image, you can see that there are two suns. You have the perennial setting sun, the one that we orbit around, and it defines our day and night. And you have this new energy, this new sun, this center, this crimson smoke, the plume coming out of the tug, which is pulling the old warship. And this challenging, the piece shows and kind of argues that these natural forces are being changed. They are being tried. There is competition now. It's not just nature, we are its rivals. There is life in what was once a barren planet. Okay. And so this was an epiphany for him. And I think that this epiphany came from the fact that he himself was an upstart. He was a working class artist. He made it. He worked his way up. He had to fight for that. He had to prove himself against kind of, the erosion and the weather and the kind of the dynamism of the ruling classes and the high societies. So he knows all about the weather and the kind of seemingly frivolous nature of it all. And so he almost like transcends that. He comes from a place of transcending that, going above it, and kind of paints himself in the image, puts himself as a self-portrait. And so what we actually see in the painting is it's a warship. So it's a warship. It was an English ship, and it was used in a battle. And it's being tugged by this kind of really brand new piece of technology, tying it to its last destination. So it's really a kind of swan song. It's the end of its life. And I think it's a way of Turner again sort of putting himself in there, saying the old ideas are coming to die. And so many people will say it's a sunset. But I think that his use of the same reds in both the sun and the smoke, it's a way of saying that it's also this stuff rising into the clouds, into the heavens, and that the steam is symbolic of that rise, going closer to God or to a higher endeavour. Turner's dissolving all these classical distinctions. Where does the land become the sea? Where does light become dark? Traditionally in painting, all of these features would be very much defined and crisp. You would know exactly where one room leads to the other. You would know where one face became the background. But in Turner's paintings, all of this is blended. It's all dynamic. And he was originally criticised for this because people complained, critics complained that it was all over the place, it didn't make sense. But I would argue the contrary, that in reality, we don't see things in isolation. We see things in this cacophony, like an echo chamber. Everything is kind of in this melding pot. And so Turner's work is kind of abstract and expressive and defiant of all of the standards and the kind of the order of things. So in many ways, even though Turner is saying that he is dying or getting older, he's also saying, he's being radical. He is saying, no, I am this new force. I am not going to do things. I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm going to depict reality as it is, the feeling of reality as it is.